Newsflash, America. This is the country liberals want you to live in, where journalists are just attacked by domestic terrorists on the streets. You see this happening. And instead of the police arresting the real criminals, they're locking up the journalists instead. And you know what? It's just enough. It's enough with this anti-American, unconstitutional garbage. But the Trump administration is about to lay a smackdown on Portland. I'll explain how. Welcome to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Happy Friday. I am in a lot of pain. I can't move my neck. So if you see me looking very straight, that's why. So I could not believe what happened last night. I was just on InfoWars with my good friend Brianna Morello, and we were talking about conservative journalists being assaulted in the streets of Portland for documenting the crimes taking place outside these ICE facilities by Antifa, right? And we were talking about Katie Davis Court, who got a terrible black eye from the flagpole that was rammed into her face. And we were talking about that incident, and I said just yesterday, Nick Sortor, our friend, he's been on the show before, conservative independent journalist, I said Nick needed to be careful because over there in Portland, in Democrat-run cities, they will go after the law-abiding citizens and be soft on the actual criminals. Here's what I said yesterday.
Sarah, it's so crazy because Nick Sortor was actually in Portland yesterday, and there's a video of him getting assaulted by a woman, what appears to be a woman. You never know these days, but he's getting assaulted. And I mean, at some point, do we just say, I mean, she's bigger than him. So we normally say, don't hit first. We don't hit first. But at what point do you have to defend yourself?
If a woman swings at you, I don't care if you're a man. I don't care what hangs between your legs. You should be able to fight back because you should not be allowed to assault anyone. However, the problem therein becomes, well, where is the locale? Who is the DA? Will they actually charge you? Because you see what happens in the case of Daniel Penny and, you know, some of these others who have tried to take matters into their own hands, tried to defend not only themselves, but the people around them. And they end up going through the ringer. They get their livelihoods and their careers turned upside down because they are trying to protect themselves or those around them. So, I mean, unfortunately for Nick, I wouldn't blame the guy for worrying, hey, maybe I should be careful. Maybe I should just allow this woman to assault me and attack me. She's got 200 pounds on him. Maybe he's thinking I should just let this woman assault me because I don't want to get punished. I don't want to get charged by the Portland DA who has it out for me. And that's just a sad state of affairs in America. It shouldn't be that way. You should, of course, be allowed to defend yourself no matter what. But unfortunately, because of these Democrat-run cities, because of these local leaders, they will go soft on the actual criminals and they will go after the law-abiding citizens. So God bless Nick. I hope he stays safe, but I don't blame him for having to think twice about whether or not he defends himself.
Well, mere hours after we had that conversation, Nick was attacked by these Antifa thugs again. There's a video of it. You can see he is the one with the light on his camera trying to get footage. And you see someone come up behind him with a flagpole or a flag. They hit him. He falls to the ground. He starts trying to defend himself. You'll notice he's in the middle of a large crowd of people who don't like him and are swinging at him and assaulting him. So will you be shocked to hear that Nick was the one who was arrested? Yes, they, of course, assaulted him. He tried to defend himself, and they arrested Nick and booked him in jail. This is still happening in America, only in Democrat-run cities, but it is still happening in America. And let's throw up what Bill Maluzhin was. I've been trying to get in contact with Nick, but we haven't been able to yet. Bill Maluzhin did. And he said that Nick said that he was getting video of protesters getting maced by federal agents, which was embarrassing video for them as they were crying, as Antifa usually does. And so then he says that Antifa swarmed and surrounded Nick, pushed him down into a flower bed, and someone threw a punch. Nick says he swung back and missed and then disengaged and walked over to you see it in the video. He walked over to the police. He was trying to remove himself from the dangerous situation. And Nick said he was then shocked to be arrested by them. He sat in the back of a police cruiser while officers figured out what to charge him with. Boy, that's when you know things are going well. When the officers are like, all right, we've already got him arrested. Now what's the crime that he actually committed? We need to figure that. I think that determination is supposed to come before you arrest someone. So they booked him on charges of disorderly conduct in the second degree. And we reached out to Portland PD to see if, so are there official charges that were being filed? Because, sometimes the police have to make a determination and book him, and then the DA has to decide whether or not they are going to pursue those charges. And the police just said that for now he's released on his own recognizance, and what the DA's office does, they can't speak for. So this is the state of Portland in 2025. This is the state, as I just predicted on InfoWars yesterday. They will be soft on the criminals, and they will arrest and charge the law-abiding citizens. We have seen it popping up with more regularity across the country. What is what they have in common? They are Democrat-run cities. I mentioned Daniel Penny in the clip. What happened to Daniel Penny in New York City? He went through the ringer. What happened to my friend Kyle Rittenhouse? The Democrats want you to believe that you should not have access to any sort of protection. You should not have access to firearms. You should defund the police. Oh, and by the way, while we're doing that, we're going to allow the criminals into the streets where you live and arrest you for attempting to defend yourself. That is the America that they want for you. I just want to be clear here, okay? Because Portland police, they could be hiring real officers to, crack down on crime, which is the whole point. No, instead they are hiring dialogue liaison officers. So these people who have been on the streets the last several months, certainly the last several nights, they wear white uniform shirts and they act as liaisons to demonstrators. So they're not there to enforce. They're there to make sure there's a healthy dialogue going on with the demonstrators who, I see that Portland.gov calls them demonstrators. I would call them criminals. Once you assault, once you vandalize, once you commit a crime, you are not a demonstrator. You are not a peaceful protester. You are a criminal. I mentioned Katie Daviscourt, another independent journalist. You want to talk about these dialogue liaison officers. Katie got a black eye, and the dialogue liaison officer who was standing right there watching the whole thing didn't want to do anything about it. Just watched the actual criminal who assaulted Katie, just watched her leave. Now, again, if the left didn't think that this was okay, if this wasn't part of the point, then they would do something about it. It's so easy. It's just like the border. It's so easy. It's almost laughable. All you have to do is enforce the law. All you have to do is give criminals consequences for their crimes. Lock them up. That's what our tax dollars pay for. They could solve it 3 months ago. But it's what they want. It's what they want. Well, you know what? It's not what they're going to get because President Trump says no more. Attorney General Pam Bondi, according to Nick, has ordered a full investigation led by Assistant AG Harmeet Dillon of Portland Police Bureau following Nick's wrongful arrest last night. And he says that she called him personally to deliver this news and that the Trump DOJ will not allow Portland police to continue to do the bidding of Antifa. Listen. He also said, you proved what we've all been saying for years, Portland police. You're corrupt and controlled by violent Antifa thugs who terrorize the streets. You thought arresting me would make me shut up and go away. You couldn't have been more wrong. Stay tuned. And I know Nick has been inundated, so that's not to say anything negative about him. I've been trying to get in touch with him because what I want to know is, are you going to sue? Because we need more of that. I keep telling everyone, when does this go away? When does the left stop doing these crazy things? When we sue them into oblivion. Whoever has the ability, whoever has the means, should be suing the hell out of these people. Whether it's leaving you totally defenseless and arresting you when you were being assaulted by criminals, whether it is allowing children to have irreversible surgery, removing their genitals or their healthy body parts, whether it's indoctrinating your children in public schools that you pay for in your taxpayer money, which again, I wouldn't recommend sending your kid to public school. But the point is that we need to go after their pocketbook. That is the only way that this ends. They don't care how you feel about their radical agendas. They do care about how it affects their bottom line, period. So, Nick, stay safe out there. I hope to get in touch with him over the weekend and help him with anything that he needs. But we are wishing him well and praying for him and all of the other journalists, conservative or not, by the way, all of the other journalists who are down there on the ground. I don't care what your political ideology is because I'm not the left. I don't care what your political ideology is. I don't think that you should fear for your life in this country when you're surrounded by police and you are exercising your right to record something happening on a public street. It's ridiculous. All right, make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, Sara Gonzales Unfiltered, and make sure to comment. It'll help us out in the algorithm, which we all know is stacked against us. We all know it. We guess we should just thank our YouTube overlords that we're even not demonetized anymore. That was just over 2 years of my life. I'd like to get back. Anyway, make sure that you are subscribed. Even if you've been subscribed before, they do this tricky thing where they unsubscribe you. So go check on that. And also, I can't wait to talk to one of my friends who happens to be in Congress. And it turns out he had some free time. So he's going to join me after the break. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Jase Medical. So Jase is a company that I think a lot of people don't realize when you think about emergency preparedness. You think about food, and people will have these buckets and buckets of food in their attics and in their basements. And I'm not saying don't do that. But what I'm saying is what you may not have realized if you understand the importance of emergency preparedness is that you also need emergency medication, prescription antibiotics in case something happens. The supply chain shuts down. The doctor's office is closed. There's a natural disaster, and it turns out you can't go to the doctor because it doesn't exist right now. Whatever the case may be, go check them out. Get the Jase case. It's actually it's a kit with a combination of some life-saving antibiotics for emergency use only. So that's the whole point, just like emergency food. You hope that you don't need it, but if you do, it will be life-saving for you. So make sure to go check them out right now. It is jase.com. Jase.com, enter promo code Sarah for a checkout for a discount on your order. That is jase.com, promo code SARA. I could not think of better timing to be joined today by Congressman Chip Roy, because when we planned this, we did not know that the government was going to be shut down.
Right.
But I cannot wait to pick your brain on what the heck is going on in D.C. and what you think is going to happen, how this is all going to play out. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, there's been a lot of back and forth. The Democrats are saying Republicans are lying when they say that the Democrats are holding this thing up, shutting down the government, holding, millions of federal workers pay hostage because they're upset about not giving free healthcare to illegals. Do I have that right?
Yeah, I mean, look, first of all, great to be here. Great to be with you. But we're not in D.C. because Democrats are picking a fight for political purposes, right? They have nothing to run on. Everybody knows that. Yeah. And they've been flailing. The president's doing a great job. We're securing the border. We're attacking all the woke garbage. Our military's strong. Pete Hegseth was just, last week, just, putting the generals in their place, saying, let's make this a fighting machine again. All these things are things that the overwhelming majority of the American people support. Okay. And Democrats are bankrupt, and they don't have much to run on. So they are veering to their crazy left. And so now Schumer and Hakeem, they've chosen to shut down to try to gin up a fight, to try to mobilize their base and focus into next year. The problem is, I think Newt said this very well the other day, actually. He said, look, you've got a situation here where there are two things going on. The American people don't love shutdowns, right? Mm-hmm. And look, and I've been a part of some shutdown fights, but they don't love shutdowns, but they also don't like big spending. They don't like additional government spending. So Democrats have done this unbelievable thing where they're picking a shutdown fight to spend more money.
Right.
And not only to spend more money, but to give that money to illegal immigrants for health care, and to be very clear, enrich insurance companies with massive subsidies that will go to the K Street lobby and all of the insurance companies, $40 billion a year. Neither of those things are very popular. Right. So I think the Democrats are walking themselves in a box. Now, how will this unfold? I don't know. We'll see, right? I mean, what are we, a couple of days in? We'll probably go back next week. I don't know for how long. But I think Democrats are in a little bit of a box trying to figure out how to get out of this. But I will say one slight warning for my Republican friends. Sure. Is that they're picking a great message in the fight with the illegal aliens getting health care. It's all very true. And by the way, our mutual friend Wade Miller tweeted that out yesterday for Citizens for Renewing America. Hey, funds are fungible. You can draw the lines on how all this money ends up in the hands of illegal aliens and giving them health care. J.D. Vance retweeted it. Elon retweeted that. Oh, wow. And it went all over the country, and people see that's the truth. But I don't think Democrats were ever serious about wanting to. They knew that wasn't going to happen. They picked that fight because then when they land the plane, that gets discarded. But then what happens? Do Republicans cave? And for the first time ever, because Republicans have never voted for these subsidies. These are COVID-era subsidies, expanding dollars and giveaways for under the name of Obamacare, but they were COVID-era subsidies, and they go to insurance companies. And if Republicans vote for those out of fear for polling, of taking away benefits, then they own Obamacare. So that's my warning shot to Republicans is don't go down that road. Don't fall into that trap. And so we're having that debate, and I'm going to post something in the Wall Street Journal this afternoon about it. So.
I'm so glad that you're bringing this up because it is, I mean, if the messaging is that the Democrats are giving free healthcare to illegals and we don't want that. But eventually you guys are going to have the backroom conversations. Yep. And then it would be so disheartening to hear that the Democrats actually, this was their play all along and that they were successful at it, at the negotiation.
And there's a bunch of soft Republicans in the Senate. They're already having those negotiations and conversations, figuring out how to land the plane. And, they'll come up with some solution that'll sound okay. We're going to grandfather, we're going to phase it out. But again, these were subsidies that only Democrats voted for, no Republicans, during COVID to extend and expand way above the 400% level. Remember Obamacare, right? The subsidies. So they discard the 400% of poverty level. And that means you're going to have people making $600,000 a year that get subsidies and all of this. And it's $40 billion a year going to the insurance companies. Who's gotten rich in the 15 years of Obamacare? Is it the average American?
Nope.
They're paying $25,000 a year for insurance that is horrible, that they can't go to the doctor of their choice, they can't afford, they can't get the benefits they want to get. And meanwhile, the insurance companies are just skyrocketing in profit, and we're going to give them $40 billion more a year. I think that's insane. I think we should talk about healthcare freedom, health savings accounts, direct primary care, empowering patients and doctors, not insurance companies, not empowering pharma and big hospitals. We can win this message if we're willing to do it. But Republicans look at the polls and they go, oh, healthcare is where the Democrats can beat us. And I think that's a mistake. I think we need to hold strong.
So I want to talk. I'm very, very glad that you brought that up because that is a concern, especially for someone. I don't know if you know this, Chip. I was an insurance brokerage firm. Like I owned an insurance brokerage firm, and I was there when Obamacare was implemented, and I left because I was like, I don't want to be in this space anymore. This, right? It's terrible. I have less to offer my clients. I can't help them. All it's doing is skyrocketing their premiums every year. I mean, it was depressing to even be in that industry.
The reason I ran for Congress is because I had cancer in 2011 and went through all of that and was blessed and was able to go to MD Anderson. But I just watched as that was just progressing, getting worse. I was Ted Cruz's chief of staff. Yeah. And to be clear, some people have said, oh, see, this is a shutdown fight. The Democrats are going to lose, like the Freedom Caucus's laws. Hold on a second. In 2013, when Ted Cruz went to the floor of the Senate, and he's declared, we're going to make D.C. listen, remember? And he went down to the floor of the Senate. Why? Because Obamacare was about to be implemented. Yeah. We knew what was going to happen. We knew it was going to make people unable to afford health care, unable to afford insurance, and we were trying to fight that for the people. Now, people don't love shutdowns, but we were at least trying to leverage a shutdown for something for the people. Yeah. Democrats right now are basically leveraging the shutdown for massive spending, and they'll try to say it's to give benefits to people, but it's really not. It's to go to the pockets of insurance companies and the lobby.
Well, it's some certain people, but it's the people who don't need the money, the insurance company CEOs and the illegals who shouldn't be here to begin with. So I know that you're running for Attorney General here in Texas.
Yep.
Obviously a very big race. And I want to hear from you just what direction you see the Texas Attorney General office going in, because it's something that I think they think, well, Donald Trump's in charge, so who cares?
Right.
But there actually are a lot of, I think, battles to be fought within the state of Texas that people don't really realize. And on top of that, one of which is what's happening with the Islamification of Texas. And I have struggled a lot with how we combat it, who can be doing what in offices, in positions that are still constitutional, because obviously I believe in freedom of religion, but this also is a very big problem that you're talking about importing an entire, I guess you could call it religion, but their intention is to kill us if we don't convert, which is kind of a problem for me, as it turns out.
Yeah. Look, first of all, the reason that I'm running for Attorney General is hard. It's hard to leave a job where I feel like I'm making a difference. But
I'm torn, by the way, because I'm like, we need someone as staunchly conservative as you in Congress. I hate to lose you there.
Well, here's the thing. I'm 1/435th
Sure.
of 1/2 of 1/3 of the federal government. That means you're beating your head against the wall to try to shape things, build coalitions to just move the boat, right? And I've been doing that now for almost 7 years. It'll be 8 years when I finish my term. And side note, on a personal basis, my kids are 14 and 16. If I run again, they're going to be gone.
Yeah.
And I want to be in Texas. But also, I've just been observing Texas. I represent Kerrville, going through the floods, spent a lot of time with law enforcement, a lot of time with DPS, a lot of time with people on the ground. And Texas is my home, and I want to protect and save it. And it is under assault. So let's go to the ways it's being attacked. It's being attacked by George Soros and a bunch of radical leftists, the Wren Collective, Southern Poverty Law Center, which thank God Kash Patel today said, hey, we're disassociating with the SPLC, but I think we should go further. We should target them. That's why I called for a special select committee targeting the radical leftists and their network of funding. The Wren Collective, which the Law Enforcement Legal Defense Fund highlighted 2 weeks ago. They have a massive network. It's not just George Soros. It is a massive network of leftists that are trying to undo our security. We need to dismantle it. We need to treat that like the mob. We need to go break down all of the funding, follow the money, and dismantle it. And with respect to Sharia, the other assault, another assault, I'll get to the border in a minute, but Sharia law is directly contradictory to our Constitution, our Declaration, and who we are. And we've got to say that. And that's not a violation of the First Amendment. And in fact, Sharia law violates everything we know about how we have a rule of law and how our society is structured and functions under our Constitution. Exactly right. And it's, in fact, I've co-sponsored legislation to ban Sharia law being applied in our courts. I think it's unconstitutional anyway, but it's important for Congress to say it. Yeah. But I also, I'm introducing legislation either today or Monday or Tuesday. I got to talk to my staff in a minute, that will increase vetting to say that if you're an adherent to Sharia, you can't come into the United States. Look, this is the way we have to do this. Yes. And as Attorney General, we need to enforce the laws of Texas, enforce the laws of this country, to say that we're not going to have this radical Islamists that are political entities that want to dismantle Western civilization. We've got to go after not just Epic City right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area by Plano, but across the entire state. We have more mosques than any other state. It is a massive problem for our well-being when the central tenet of Sharia adherence is to attack our way of life, to dismantle it and say, we're going to convert everybody to Islam or we're going to fight. Right. And so we've got to dismantle that. We can't be afraid to say it. We are a Judeo-Christian nation. We were founded on Christian principles. We should embrace those principles, and our country will only succeed, in my opinion, if we do as a society. Final point. Charlie Kirk, a lot of people, suddenly are like, oh, he was my best friend, right? I mean, and I don't like that. Yeah. So I'll just characterize, Charlie and I had a good professional relationship. We got to know each other because we're conservatives in this world. And we would text pretty regularly. The last substantive text that I have with Charlie, and I don't talk about these things much because I think they're personal, but this one matters, was about Islamism, Sharia. And he said to me, and I agree, that our world, conservatives, don't nearly understand the threat that this poses to us. Right. because he had seen a floor speech I gave on the floor of the House 16 months ago where I railed on London and Paris. And I said, America, wake up, because it's coming to a city near you. It's coming to your communities. The 7% of the UK, the 10% of France that are Muslim, the advance of what's happening there, the leadership in their communities. Now we're seeing it right now. We're seeing it in Dearborn. We're seeing it in Minneapolis. We're seeing it in Texas, and it's got to stop.
Yeah. Amen. Chip Roy, I appreciate you so much. Like I said, I hope that you will be, who's running for your seat? Is there anyone that you've endorsed yet that is running for your seat?
There are a number of people who have gotten in. Mark Teixeira.
Okay. Oh, that's
baseball
right.
player.
That's right.
But Trey Traynor has announced, that was public today.
Okay.
He was an FEC commissioner for Trump. A couple other guys, Kyle Sinclair, some other guys that have put their name in there. I'm not putting my finger on the scale.
Okay.
My view is you have to go earn it.
Yeah.
When I ran, there were 18 people in the primary.
Were there really?
And you know, I was.
Sounds terrible.
But you have to go earn it. You got to go see the people. It's just
Yeah.
like the AG's race. Like people go, well, it's a primary. It's like, look, my record is strong. I dare anybody to say they've got a more conservative record than I do, and that have a more demonstrated life committed to the conservative values we all hold, with a track record backing it up. As a former federal prosecutor, as a former first assistant attorney general, has been in the courtroom. You got to go earn it, right? And go across the state and go meet with people and shake their hands and say, nothing is given, right? And that's the same in Texas 21.
Yeah, I love that. Tell people where they can learn more about your campaign or potentially donate.
Yeah, chiproy.com, ChipRoyTX on Twitter/X. I still call it Twitter, but Twitter/X. ChipRoy.com. And, we're out there. We're visiting with folks. We got a lot of momentum, a lot of endorsements. Proud to have Ted Cruz's endorsement. Proud to have the endorsement of Gun Owners of America. And I can't go down the whole list. It's a long list. And a lot of support, a lot of money coming in, and just a lot of enthusiasm that I'm really proud of. And our polling is very high because people have known that I've been fighting for them for a long time.
Yeah. Yes, you have. And I appreciate you. Congressman Chip Roy in studio. Come back soon.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, before we go to break, I want to thank our sponsor, Birch Gold. So Birch Gold is there for those of you who maybe you're like, I really need to diversify, but I don't really know what it is that what can I potentially do without the government? No offense to my friend over here, about the government penalizing me every single time I want to move my money around or change my mind on something. What you can do actually is go talk to my friends over at Birch Gold. They're going to help you convert an existing IRA or 401k that you might just have lying around. They can help you convert that into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. You're not going to pay a dime out of pocket. You can text my name, Sarah, to 989898. They're going to send you a free information kit on gold. There's no obligation. It's just useful information. So go check them out. If you have not yet already looked at diversifying, I just encourage you, just do your own research, okay? Text my name, Sarah, SARA, to 989898. All right, welcome to the show. We've got Blaze TV contributors, Jaco Booyens, of course, also founder of Jaco Booyens Ministries, and Eric July, Blaze TV contributor and founder of Ripaverse Comics. You can find him at ripaverse.com. You can find him at helpjbm.org. I would encourage you to check both of them out. And I have a feeling that you guys will have, a little something to say about this next topic. I was just talking to Congressman Chip Roy about what, he's running for Texas AG.
Yeah.
What do we do about the Islamification of Texas?
Yes.
Because it's it's not just a big problem here. It's a big problem in this entire country that no one is willing to admit because everyone is scared that they're going to be called Islamophobe or, racist or xenophobic or whatever. But let me tell you how it's playing out in the UK. How it's playing out in the UK is that some terrorist kills at least 2 worshipers at Manchester Synagogue on Yom Kippur. 4 were wounded. One of the victims was unfortunately accidentally killed by police, but this was on Yom Kippur, a confirmed terror attack, so intentionally on a Jewish holiday. And they've made 3 other arrests in connection to the attack, but let's throw up a picture of that suspect. So for a while, he was shot dead by police, by the way. For a while, they just had that picture and they wouldn't release his name. And it was kind of like, okay, guys, we all know where this is going. It's not a coincidence. Can we just can we just get to the root of this? Okay, his name is Jihad al-Shami. He came to the UK from Syria as a child. And apparently, it turns out you can take the Sharia law out of the Middle Eastern Muslim country, you can't take it out of the person because he was raised here as a child, still radicalized because his father apparently praised October 7th Hamas terrorists days after the terror group attacked Israel. That's his father there. And he said that men like these prove they are Allah's men on earth. Oh, by the way, fun fact about that guy in the UK, he's a trauma surgeon. Which you got to wonder how all of the Jewish people who have to go into emergency surgery feel about that guy being the one who's operating on them. But I keep seeing this stuff and I'm like, what is it going to take for us to have a real conversation about the dangers that await us when we allow the importation of people who literally want to kill us if we don't convert? Seems like a terrible idea, Jaco.
Yeah, I missed Chip's session, and he's a friend, and I want to connect with him on this. I sat 5 weeks ago. I sat in an anti-terrorism briefing, U.S. in D.C., where we were briefed by two defected Muslims who now are no longer Muslim, and they literally line by line went through the Quran and Sharia, which is separate, and Christians don't know this. The Quran is one thing, but Sharia separate. Went through it line by line with us. And these two guys said, you Americans brought the term peaceful Islam. There's no such thing as, and this is not me saying it,
Right.
You made it a thing. Because if you say there's peaceful, then there's radical, then they can just claim, well, we're peaceful
They're
Islam.
the peaceful, yep.
There's not. There's just Islam, which means you have to. They also looked at it and said, do you know that we consider Jesus, Moses, Abraham, all of them Islamic who defected? You are the highest hatred is one who leaves their faith. They look at you as one who was at birth Islamic and you defected. You deserve death. If we look at London, and I work with Scotland Yard, I work with the House of Lords there, right? And then we look at Anna, Texas.
Yeah.
And you look at Frisco, Texas, and now we've got 4 no-go zones in this country. Right now, if a British woman marries into Islam, she's forfeiting her protection as a British citizen. If she's raped, we just worked with a woman 3 months ago that was raped in her marriage, passed around in the faith by her husband as a concubine to other men, which they're allowed to do in their faith. She says, hey, help me, I'm being raped. British police says, hey, you're under Sharia. So you're going to see that happen in America. You've got cities here in Texas, and Texas is under attack. I don't know what Chip said. Texas is a target. We were briefed in D.C. that Texas is a particular target. Some of the most surveyed mosques in the country is in Texas. Some of the most radical schools is in Texas. And now you've got woke mayors in Texas saying, yeah, we're going to have a Sharia faction in our cities, and Sharia law will prevail. And law enforcement, like sheriffs and PD, is not going to go in because they don't want to get trapped in a religious war, because those sects say, hey, we police ourselves. Thank you very much.
Right.
May I remind you, the guy they followed married a 9-year-old.
Right. Yeah, that seems to be a
Had sex with children.
there's a little bit of a you may want to readjust your character traits if you're going for the guy who's marrying 9-year-old children. Eric, I'm going to throw this in here. I didn't get a chance to talk to Chip about it, but DFW Airport. Yaku's nodding his head. I knew that you had heard of this and probably were alluding to it earlier. DFW Airport had a Christian pastor. You know, they have the chapels, and it says outside of it, all are welcome. Everyone's welcome in the chapel. Well, he was blocked from entering the chapel at DFW Airport because the Muslims were having their little prayer session where they get down on the floor and whatever.
Go look at the hiring ratio in TSA.
That is terrifying.
Go look at the hiring ratio in TSA.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because I also...
Kristi Noem better step up.
Yes, because, God, where was I, Stephen? Where was the last place that in Arizona, coming back from Charlie's Memorial. And I was shocked, and I really don't care if it sounds racist or profiling or what. I honestly do not care. It is very terrifying to me to have seen all of the Muslim people that I saw who were at the airport responsible for keeping our planes safe. Call it PTSD from September 11th. I don't really care. I don't think that it's unreasonable when you look at what is happening in the UK and you look at what their own books say, their own holy books, their own faith, their own founding documents, whatever you want to call them. All you have to do is look at their stuff. So that's not a me problem. And it's just very shocking to me to see all of this happening and nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah, I would go even further than that, because this is, to me, an issue that America is going to be faced with pretty, I don't want to wish bad on anybody, and I wouldn't want to put that evil out in the world that something may end up happening where it's a massive blowback and people's lives are going to unfortunately be at stake, and then only then will people start to realize kind of what's going to happen or what is happening. But it does, I get that feeling. The reason why I say that I think it goes beyond just simply that, right now in America, we're at this very bizarre era. Well, over the last couple of decades, not just with Islam, but just with how the immigration approach has been handled, let's say, in this country for a very long time. Again, it's not something that just started. You have this big time conflict of cultures and clashes that have been brewing, right? And I think as you start to see it, you're starting to see a generation like what happened there. You take someone from an area, a UK, take someone from an area, and then they basically, they come to the UK, they are raised, I guess, there, despite having the ideology that they might have or that was already kind of beat in their head when they were a young kid. And then it's almost like a ticking kind of time bomb kind of situation. So while, yeah, surely they were okay for 10, 20 years, maybe even, then it blows up. And then when it blows up bad. And now you have other people that unfortunately are going to lose their lives. The whole coexist kumbaya stuff is something that I've grilled so many folks that even agree with me economically, like some libertarians even, about how that I think is something that's diametrically opposed to peace. Mm-hmm. I don't think peace, what comes with peace is not forcing integration among cultures that are incompatible. I didn't say race.
Sure.
I'm talking about cultures that are incompatible regardless of what race that they are.
It's a faith thing. It doesn't matter what your race is.
Exactly. So what happens there is that you end up having the people having to end up fending for themselves. We know that the government is crooked in their involvement or lack thereof, depending on what way that you put it. They don't have what's in your best interest often when this stuff does blow up. So the people are left to fend with this issue of, well, now I am forced to basically live among a bunch of people that it's not that they disagree with me on certain things. It's that they are ideologically opposed to where I'm at, even what this country is supposed to be about. And under the guise of coexistence, we've ushered in this. And again, it goes beyond simply just Islam. The fact that we have people running for office that are admittedly socialist, to me, is a disqualifier automatic in America.
Yep.
Like, how can this be America when you have people? And we're talking about this, what's the dude's name? Zondi, whatever his name is, that's running over there in New York.
Ram Mamdani.
Yeah, Mamdani, an admitted open socialist, is running for mayor of one of the biggest cities in your country. And he's an open socialist. Again, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because...
And I would argue that he is a communist who claims
he is. No, absolutely. Right? No, well, to be fair...
He said, he was asked, he said, I'm not a communist, I'm a democratic socialist.
All that sounds good, but if you understand the history of socialism, those terms were used interchangeably up until the last century anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So they're essentially just different brands of the same crap. But no, you have guys like that, and that should be a wake-up call for everybody in this country, that you have a bunch of folks here. They do not like capitalism. They are not pro-private property rights. They are not pro-individualism, and trying to force us to live amongst each other and expecting peace, for lack of better terms, is retarded. you're not going to get it. You
Yeah.
can't get it.
It's
You
impossible.
can't get it.
Well, it's impossible. If I know we got to go to a
you're
break,
good.
but can I say a couple things? And this is particularly for the Christian community out there. What you're seeing growing at the moment in the Christian faith is what's called the Abrahamic faiths. And this is coming through some of the upper echelons in our country. That's complete bullcrap. It means all gods are the same God. It all stems from Abraham. That's absolute nonsense. Muhammad and Allah is not Jesus and is not God. Okay, let's be clear. This nation was set apart under the biblical worldview, the Bible, not the Quran, not the Torah by itself, the Bible. So let's just get that straight. Secondly, it is growing like a cancer because there's only 3 occurrences where a Muslim can lie to your face. They can lie to integrate into your culture. So play nice, talk your language, blend in community, be nice, right? They can lie to your face to convert you. So to play that we're on your team, which is why you see sometimes Muslims for gays in America, but they decapitate them in the Middle East. They can lie. No, we're with you. We're for you. This is an complete takeover of our country, which our country was set apart according to the ways of God. The most cited document in the Constitution is the Holy Bible, not the Quran, not Sharia. And now you're watching people with niceness. And the last thing I'll say is God does not call us to be nice. He calls us to be kind. And kindness corrects. Kindness has justice. Kindness has law. God says, I don't love my own child if I don't discipline them. But America became nice. You're not called to be nice. No, these people in their faith, which they are devout to, look at you as an infidel. You are defected. So they'll be nice to you to then one day make it blow up. Okay? You cannot negotiate with this stuff.
Oh, you're right. Well, and I think just to close out the segment, and then I want to get with you guys on one other thing. What is it, the preamble that talks about in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, and ensure domestic tranquility? What is domestic tranquility? It certainly is not achieved by importing a bunch of people who hate you and want you dead if you don't convert, I would argue. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be right back.
No good, man.
Well, Harvard, I don't know why anyone would ever send their children to Harvard, especially as much as it costs. Control room, can you please look up how much a year at Harvard or a semester costs these days in 2025?
It's 88.
Is it?
I think it's up there.
Okay, 60,000 plus.
With books, 88.
That's 60,000 plus. Because if that's tuition, you're talking about rent, you're talking about, whatever the dormitories, food, books. And so Harvard, instead of reading the room on what's happening with public higher education, or this is private, but higher education in general, they have hired a drag queen named Lahore Vagistan.
Oh, my.
As a visiting professor. And that professor is going to teach a class on RuPaul's Drag Race and also a class on gender theory. So just wondering, queer ethnography is the other class. And RuPolitics, Drag, Race, and Desire in the spring semester. And so I would just like to state, Eric is already about to lose his mind. I would just like to state for the record, the Trump administration has already floated an idea where they have Harvard develop trade schools. And all I'm saying is you probably don't want the same people, the same crazies who thought it would be a good idea to bring a drag queen with that name to their campus. Probably a bad idea to have them in charge of trade schools or daycares or colleges or anything else responsible for teaching your children. Is it just me?
I'll try to be quick on this.
Take it, buddy. Take my time.
I really want, when you see something like this going down, I want conservatives to really understand what they are up against when it comes to academia. not only just how rotten it is, most importantly, the role that the government has in subsidizing it. Obviously, this drag queen is going to teach fake classes. 90% of the degrees are fake. They're useless, especially in this ever-growing age of ever-growing like technology. A lot of what they teach is obsolete. Effectively, academia right now is a Ponzi scheme. It's a bunch of weirdos who, in order to justify themselves, are getting this sort of state subsidizing, talking about from the federal government, be it through the grant and loan systems. You can't get any jobs with that. The only thing you could do is teach other crack smokers to have the same job. That is the fundamental problem with education. And what I don't like is that we haven't gone like radical on this issue. I'm talking about the economic right, and I'm not asking for reform of this system. I'm asking for complete and total abolition. And when I say complete and total abolition, you can sit up here and call it unrealistic. But if you're looking at the direction that this country is going in, which is to crap, you cannot separate academia's involvement from it. It is right there, core, right at the center of it. And we not only continue to subsidize it, we have people voluntarily allowing, actually paying for, in some cases, if it's not the loans, their children to be indoctrinated by drag queens like that. And it ain't just happening in Harvard. It's happening all over in pretty much every sort of like public university. Something has to be done. And it needs to be drastic. Not, well, we're going to kind of change some rules on you. No. Like, I'm talking complete pulling of all funds and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, look, best coach I ever had said when there was a problem in a team, he closed the locker room door and he said, call me when it's fixed. And you fix it on the inside. And you take that guy and you lock the door and he walks different, right? This is where the alumni, that when Harvard had any resemblance of credit, the alumni comes out and goes, they need to storm the gates and go, this is, or I revoke my allegiance, the boosters, not just the federal funds.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you're a parent and your child is in Harvard right now, you've got a dilemma. You better go get on the wall as a warrior and go fight, or pull your child out of Harvard. Or any school. It's not just Harvard. By the way, Harvard started as a Christian school. Oh, how far we have fallen. I can talk of TCU. I can talk of all these schools that can't even remember what the vision and mission statement was when they started. So,
yeah, this will make you sick before we have to go. Harvard has received at least $4.4 billion in federal funding through grants, contracts, subgrants, and subcontracts since 2017.
The plug. Like, not portionally.
No, it needs to all go.
The plug.
It's over with. It's done. Go figure it out.
Turn the power off.
$7 million per student is the endowment. They have an endowment. Still receives $550 million from the government annually.
And the student still pays, by the way.
It's unbelievable.
Right.
The parents still pay, by the way.
Right.
Here's the other thing. Employers in America, stop hiring kids from woke colleges. Yeah. Oh, you got Harvard on your degree? Disqualified.
Trash can. That's how I would hire. Jaco Booyens, Eric July. I appreciate you guys so much, and we will see you next week.